Hey, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute. I have a very talented and funny young man, Dreux Ferrano's with me today. Dreux, thank you for being here, my friend.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
It's my pleasure. You are an amazing young man. You've got so much. We got to get right to it. We got so much to cover.
Oh, that's good to
All right.
hear.
So I think you were born or you were from New Jersey. Is that correct?
That's correct. I hail from New Jersey.
But now, if I'm right, you're in Florida.
Yeah, currently we live in Florida.
Okay, all right. Do you want to tell me how that came about, or not? It's up to
Well,
you. You can, or you. It's your whole. This whole thing's about you.
it's a pretty short story.
Okay,
The breadwinner for my family is my mom, and she had lost the job that we had up in New Jersey, so we couldn't
okay,
afford to live there. So we moved to our
okay,
vacation home, and then that was in Hutchinson Island. And then one of the whatever the hurricane was that hit Hutchinson
right,
Island, we were like, well,
right.
we got to move to Stewart. And then my mom worked at Steinmart. Steinmart is no longer in business, so
Okay,
now we moved to Tampa because there was
okay.
a opportunity at Belk. So
Good, good.
now we're out here.
Okay. Do you like Florida, or do you
Yeah,
miss
it's
Jersey?
hot. It's hot. I don't miss a lot of New Jersey. I miss New York more than New Jersey.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep rolling because the next thing I have, and I think this is one of your current projects. Projects. Say that three times. Strings attached comedy.
That's correct. That's the current stand-up project that I'm working
Right.
on.
Do you want to tell the people? Because if I'm right now, again, for time travelers, this won't air for about 2 weeks, but you have a show tonight.
I have a show tonight. I have a show next week on Thursday.
Okay.
We have a couple more in September that we're still
Okay.
in talks with like the
Well, I
Commodore
hope to have
Theater
this
and
up
stuff.
before September.
Yeah. There's
All right.
plenty
You
going
so
on with
tell
that.
tell the people about because I know, but I want you to tell
Yeah.
people about strings attached comedy.
Well, Strings Attached is a play on the idea that we're all musicians of some sort, and we all play
Right.
stringed musicians except for the drummer. And we,
That would be kind of odd.
yeah, it would be weird, but I guess he could do like a one of those harps that you play with the hammers,
That's
like a
okay.
dulcimer. But yeah, we all play like music and we do stand up. So it's like two shows in one where we do a stand up
Right.
thing where we all do about 10 to 15 minutes depending on how many people are there.
Okay.
And then at the end we get together as a band and we perform a bunch of our comedy songs all in a row like a concert.
Well,
And that's
and
our
I think I'm right. You're a guitar player because on your Facebook page you have a really cool guitar.
Yeah, I have a few guitars.
Do you have a
But
few?
yeah, I feel like all guitar players they're like it's like tattoos. You can't just have one. You get the first one and then you have the 15th one and you're like, what happened?
Well, now people don't know, and just so we clarify, you and I've never met.
Right.
One of my buddies is Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick.
Oh wow.
Rick has some guitars.
Oh yeah. He has that one with like the six necks and stuff.
I
Yeah.
held that one. He's got one with a five neck. But yeah, I
Yeah.
saw what is that, a flying V, like a silver flying V on your Facebook page?
Yeah, it's a
It's a
custom
beautiful
from
guitar.
it is, thank you. Yeah, it's a custom from a company called Halo that
Yeah.
it's been like my little project guitar. So I got it made in one way and I've been tweaking it to make it more
Yeah,
for
Rick gets all his, well, a lot of his from Hamer,
mm,
Hamer, Hamer
yeah.
guitars.
Hmm.
But yeah, so strings attached comedy, and I'm gonna. I don't know if I should do this, but I'm going to. On your Facebook, you posted that last night was one of your best open mics, one of your best stand up shows. Is that right?
I had a great time. Yeah, we did at the Grove for Side Splitters. I was
Okay.
trying out some newer stuff without really relying on material, and I just
Okay.
think that a lot of time people don't approach me after a show because I'm like a big guy. I'm not like an approachable guy,
Drew,
but a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
get into
people,
that. I'm gonna get into that. You're
yeah,
not a big fan of people heckling you in crowd work.
no, crowd work is not my thing. But
No,
yeah, a lot of
I'm
people
sorry,
were very
Drew.
happy.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't do that,
I
man.
don't think you like people.
No, I've
You
had a lot
probably
of
don't even
bad
like
experiences.
me.
Well, I mean, I don't dislike you. I mean, I'm here.
You don't
Uh,
like me. You just don't dislike me.
right. I like to keep everybody at a
It's like for a
realistic
fat
level.
girl, you don't sweat much.
Right. Yeah, it's just hard for
I'm
me.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm being an idiot. I'll try and calm down.
No, I
You got
got
me.
you.
You got
We're
me a little
joking around.
giddy. So last
Good.
night's show, you tried some new stuff and it was fun.
Yeah, and I think I got a good response from the crowd for the first time in a long time.
Good,
Yeah,
good, good. I'm happy for you.
thank you.
Which brings me to when did you start doing? Because I don't know, but there's so much for me to cover, Drew. I
Yeah,
want to get into your new YouTube channel, which is amazing.
thank
But
you.
when did you start doing stand up?
Stand up, I started about 6 or 7 years ago, and
All right.
I did a lot of stuff in the city because I lived in New Jersey, so I'd take the train in and I'd do
Okay.
all the mics and stuff. Got my start doing like a comedy class
Okay.
it's by a company called, I think, Laughing Buddha, and they're
All right.
owned by Jim Gaffigan.
Okay.
And I didn't know that till the graduation show because Jim Gaffigan crashes all the graduation shows. So you'll be like nervous for your comedy, and Jim Gaffigan will just come up and do 20 minutes, and then you have to
So
follow him.
that happened?
Yeah, really, really did.
Wow, Drew, that's cool.
Yeah, it
And
was a
that was
real.
what, 6 or 7 years ago?
Yeah, it was way back in the day
Okay. Well,
before the plague hit.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said, yeah, it was before the plague hit
Okay.
in
Well,
2020.
the question I have, if you've watched any of these, was there a catalyst 6 or 7 years ago that you decided I wanted to try and do stand up? Was there something that made you jump
Yes.
out and say, "Yeah, I want to try this"?
I think yeah, more direct than I think most people would ever have. But I used to do improvisational theater,
Okay.
but I like to make people laugh, and
Yeah, me too.
improvisational theater directors don't like guys that make people laugh. And
Okay.
they kept scolding me, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do comedy then. And ever since, I
Okay.
never looked back.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool.
Mhm.
Um, Comedians that inspired you to start doing comedy.
My inspirations. I have
And
to
the follow-up, Drew, comedians that you like now. What
comedians that
did
I
you
like
pay your
now. Yeah.
electric bill, Drew? What happened there, buddy? We lost the
Oh,
lighting.
one of my screens went. I have like the Zoom thing, which is like a white background. I'm using it as like
Okay,
a
well,
soft light.
whatever. We got you. You're looking good.
Yeah,
A little
I'm
just
looking
different
something
view
up
for
real
us.
quick. Yeah, I'm trying to look up this one guy's name. Uh,
It's all right. It's
just
not
I
that
can never
important.
remember his name, even though he's a huge inspiration of mine. His name's Michael Davis. He's
Michael
a
Davis.
Yeah, he's like a juggler that does jokes. His famous quote, he'll come out and he'll be juggling and he'll say, they say that comics are people who say funny things and comedians are people who say things funny. I am a juggler. And he just continues with that type of humor. Very, very funny man, very talented because he does magic stuff and juggling tricks and all of it's like a vaudeville show.
Okay.
And he's doing jokes the whole time. It's very rare to see people that can do like so many different things all at once. He also
Okay.
played music. He did everything. Like Michael Evans did it. He did everything in a comedy sense. So he was a huge
Is
inspiration of mine.
he down in Florida there, or is he tour nationwide?
He's definitely a nationwide tour. He was like
Okay.
touring with Don Rickles when he was still alive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's an old head.
Oh,
He's been
okay.
around. Yeah, he's from way back. He was on like the Johnny Carson show. He was on David
Yeah.
Letterman.
Okay.
But yeah, he's very, very funny. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah. You talking about I met Rodney Dangerfield. I met a lot of different comedians over the years.
Hmm.
Um, but let's kind of shift gears a little bit
Okay.
to your YouTube channel.
Okay.
Now, again, it's spelled differently. Is it still pronounced Drew the Shredder, or is it
Well,
different?
yeah, it's like based off a nickname, Drew Ox, which like I got back in high school because when I was in high school, I was more of a musician, and we wanted this one
Now,
guy
I
that
got
I
the
knew.
shredder parts. You shredding on the
Yeah,
guitar,
but the Drew Ox part comes from
Drew
a guy I used to know. He wanted to make a metal band, and he's like, we all have to have Norwegian names, so we have to add Ox at the end of your name. So my name was Drew, so I was Drew Ox, and
Ox the
it
Shredder.
just stuck in my head.
Well, the reason I brought it up, Drew, is because it's absolutely amazing. 24,000 subscribers
Yeah, it's
over
been
that,
around a while.
almost 4.3 million views.
Hmm.
It's just incredible.
Yeah, I
And
wish all those numbers were
congratulations.
recent.
I have the utmost respect for you for that alone.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but it's an old channel. Most of those views came from the early 2000s. There was a
Okay.
song contest. I had a lot of popular entries in.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always curious because, in other words, I looked at your Instagram, your TikTok, And
Hmm.
seeing your post last night where it's like you're kind of reinventing yourself with the
Yeah,
stand-up
there's a lot of
comedy
that.
and trying to, in other words, maybe I'm wrong here, but you already conquered the YouTube, how to get monetized, whatever, kill the, YouTube thing. Now it's stand-up.
I just think I mesh better with the stand-up world. I like the people that I've met in stand-up comedy. The people I met on
Okay.
YouTube, I don't really have a lot of them. I don't talk to them that much
Yeah.
anymore.
Do
But
you do you enjoy doing, like, you're on TikTok? Do you
mhm.
enjoy doing the video kind of stuff? Because, words, I've done like 250 of these,
Yeah.
and I've got the stand up comics, and they don't really care for the TikTok, Instagram folks.
Yeah.
Now you're laughing there, but I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
It's true.
talking about,
Oh, I know exactly what you're
where
talking
they
about.
can bring in a ton of people, but they're not real
Yeah.
good comedians.
Right.
And I don't want to lump them all together. I'm sure there are
I know
some
what
that
you
are,
mean, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, it kind of ties me into, do you do you want to continue? Because a lot of people feel that you need that balance.
I think it's good to have a hand in as many of the cookie jars of entertainment as possible. It's very important because it's very common that one thread will be weak at some point and then another one will be strong. And if
Right.
you don't have the skills to jump from one to one, it's hard to stay relevant. It's hard to stay consistent. And for
Okay.
me, like I started in on YouTube, but just kind of making silly videos, and then I'm more passionate about stand up in general. I like how flexible it is. It's a lot easier for me to be someone who does jokes and then someone who does music than if you're on YouTube. It's a lot harder to do different things in the same genre, so to say,
Okay. Right.
because the fans want like a consistent feed of whatever it is. They want you to do the same thing the same way. Whereas in things like stand up and other live entertainment, mixing it up is usually appreciated by the audiences of that. And then I can use my social media to try to advertise to get the people that are more interested in the stand up will hopefully then go to more stand up stuff and I can continue to push my boundaries. And like, that's just what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep myself relevant on the internet in some way, but mostly I'm focusing on the stand up stuff because it's
Okay.
more
Well,
rewarding for me.
trust me, Drew, I'm going to do everything I can to help you. Not that I can do
Thank
that much, but I have a few followers. And one thing I just wanted to touch on, where I'll do a joke on YouTube, it does something. But meanwhile, over on
you.
Instagram, where I only have about a quarter of the followers I have on YouTube, meanwhile, that'll go to 300,000.
Right, exactly.
There's no rhyme or reason to it.
That's right.
And I
So,
just keep plugging along. I'm really enjoying doing these because I think I'm best one on one. And I
hmm
also like showing sides of comedians that there's a lot more to it than just standing up there and doing jokes.
hmm
There's a lot of heart
it's true.
and a lot of ups and downs. And,
hmm
people talk about bombing and, that it's part of the game.
It is. It's part of growth, failure,
Yeah.
and learning to rise above it and changing
Yeah.
and being able to grow as not only a person, but with stand up, as you grow as a person, you also grow as a performer
Right.
and a comedian.
Well, let's keep rolling. Do you have
Yeah.
and this is a two-parter, and
Yeah.
if you don't know, I'm a sick idiot. I'm a sick asshole.
Oh.
And no, I'm warning you up front. I like in other words, I'm going to ask you the first one, your favorite show, but then of course the follow up is your least favorite show, which
Like a
that's where the
TV
meat
show.
is. Okay.
Hmm. My favorite show is a show called Kenny versus Spenny. It's a Canadian
Oh
like
no, I'm talking
reality
about
TV.
your
Oh, you
stand-up
mean
shows.
stand-up shows?
Your stand-up shows,
Mm.
shows that you've done,
Yeah,
but like in 6 years now, your favorite show you've done.
yeah. I'd say we did a strings attached show at the Laugh Out Lounge. That's been my favorite so far. The crowd was
Okay.
amazing. The show went very well. There weren't a lot of technical issues, but except for two, which were both
Okay.
very funny. The first one of our guitars got stuck on the projector screen. It was a ukulele. So when the projector screen was going up, you see this ukulele like coming up with it, and one of us had to
Right.
run out and grab it, which was already a funny moment.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then we have a clip of the other one on the Strings Attached channel where I was doing a song and there was a microphone, and my song is about how my penis doesn't work. And the microphone's pointed up, and then during the song it goes
It
down.
starts
And
going
like,
down.
oh, It was just so perfectly timed. I
Yeah,
couldn't have even
you
faked
can't
it.
make it up that good.
It was very good. Very good night.
So the strings attached comedy, that's something that you want to really put
Yeah.
as well as the stand up.
Yeah, like because we get to do both. We get to do our songs. We get to
Okay.
flex our stand up.
Oh,
There's
cool. All
not
right.
it's not one or the other. We get to do both, and
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
very
yeah.
entertaining show.
Cool. Well, now the least favorite show.
Least favorite show is hard to pick out because I've had a lot of bad shows in my life. Like a
I'm
lot.
sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Drew. I apologize.
No, no, it's
You'll
fine.
find I laugh at the wrong shit.
No, no, that's the right thing to laugh at. I think any good comedians had a lot of bad shows, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
hard to.
yeah.
I don't think I've been at it long enough to have a
And you know I
worst.
got to interrupt you, Drew, because you
Yeah,
post them. There's some online.
I'm sure there are. Because
I love where you went after that heckler.
yeah, I've had a couple with hecklers. But I think the worst show there weren't hecklers. It was in a Climat Lounge. It was an open mic with Laughing Buddha's company at a place called the Climat Lounge in New York, where the stage is like the size of my head. You could
Okay.
barely fit on it. I don't even know how they got the mic stand on it.
All
And
right.
at the time, there was a news event because I was very very new to comedy and thought, oh, I have to do all the stuff with the new things like they do on the talk shows.
Right,
And
right,
so,
right.
cameraman was killed that year by a guy who like Facebook lived it like in
Oh
first
no.
person, which was crazy to me. And so I do a joke about it where literally in real life, when the cameraman was shot, he wasn't facing the gunman, but he turned around and he got the shot because he's a consummate professional, which
Right.
to me was like a funny line. And I told the joke and people laughed in the room. And then the guy who was hosting the show just got back like maybe a day or two ago from the cameraman's funeral. He was like his close
Oh
friend and he
no.
was not a happy camper. And he like threw a notebook at me and was yelling at me. And but fortunately the room kind of like rallied against that because it was a room full of edgelords, I guess. I was lucky. I could have been very hurt that day if everybody didn't
Yeah.
like it. But that was probably the scariest and like the worst show. But it was
Okay.
that Climat Lounge. Mike has also some of the funniest moments, but they're never including me. It's usually somebody else doing something. But it was a fun time. I loved going all over New York and doing all those crazy little shows in the corners and the back alleys where it was all. I never realized how dangerous the areas I was in.
Yeah.
But you're young, you don't know. You're walking around in flip flops in Manhattan.
Okay.
You're not thinking about it. But
Is the scene in other words, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Jokes that you do in New York maybe don't fly in Florida.
oh yeah, I did a lot of because of what happened to me in high school. I do a lot of jokes surrounding things like school shootings and stuff. I used to when I first came down, but you can't do that in Florida because
No.
I and even though it's a very personal thing for me, so I think sometimes I can get away with it in some places. I have to be ready for pushback. And
Yeah.
so I have things for comebacks for if I want to do one of those jokes because I do think that they're funny and they're a part of me.
Would you mind doing one for me?
Sure. When
Matter
I
of
was
fact, Drew, if you don't mind, do a couple.
a couple of them, I'll do my
I
two.
love, if you don't know, I love dark humor. So go ahead.
Oh yeah, well that's my specialty.
Go
I'll do
ahead,
two of
buddy.
them. I'll do two. I'll do the main one that I love to do is very very direct to what happened to me in high school. Because in high school I was about as big as I am now, but in
Yeah.
high school there was a big rumor that I was going to shoot up the school. But there was one problem: is that there was like 1,000 kids, and I'm a big guy. I could maybe kill like 50, but I'd need a nap. I never understood it. Like everyone's so quick to. Nobody imagines me as like a good swimmer, but they'll put a balaclava on me and arm me to the teeth, and it's perfectly believable. I don't understand that. And I told that joke in Parkland, Florida, and a woman in the audience heckled me by yelling out "next joke," and I made that into an anecdotal joke where I say when she yelled that, it almost took me back to high school where I was sitting in the room with the principal who was like, "Hey, everyone spread this rumor about you, and now you don't get your diploma, we're not going to let you back on the school grounds. How much I wish I could have leaned back in that chair and been like, next joke." But I couldn't do that. So she wasn't allowed to do that to me, and then she left. And I don't,
Right, right.
because I said that to her in that moment,
Yeah.
and she did not like that I had a funny comeback.
I had my first because I've never done them, but Mark Trinidad was on the show a few weeks ago,
Hmm.
and he did a school shooting joke. I'm not going to do it,
You
but
don't
you'll
have
have to look at it because it's one. First off, that's the thing I love about doing these. You and I have been trying to get together, and I'm going to get into that in a minute
to. Yeah.
for a while. And I said to you, I
Hmm.
like the spontaneity, two people just meeting. You don't know, I don't know what you're going to say. You don't know what I'm going to
Right.
say. I like that magic. And Mark Trinidad blew me away when he started talking about school shooting jokes. Well, he started by saying he was eating mushrooms.
Hmm.
So, but oh my God, So
What a
now you
segue.
have a second, school shooting joke.
The anecdotal one is that one,
Oh, okay,
and like the tag of yeah, those were basically the two. It's the
okay, all
I'm
right,
big, I can't do it unless I take a
right.
nap, and then the other one is that lady because that's just an anecdote of what happened when I was heckled when I did the first joke in Parkland. You know.
Yeah, what got us on that was the jokes, maybe New York versus Florida,
Yeah.
and I bet
Yeah.
it doesn't go the other way. If you go back to New York, some of the jokes that pop in Florida don't pop in New York.
I think so, yeah, because and I'm not sure if it's because New York has changed a little bit, but definitely I think that I can spin a lot of my more recent stuff, but the things that I was writing when I was in like West Palm Beach back in like 2007 or
Okay,
2017, that those jokes probably not so much because in
right.
New York they want raw. In New York, I've always every club I ever did in New York, it was like they want raw, honest humor. This is what I think, and then you double down as the punchline,
Okay,
and that's what they loved. So like I would do a lot of things about like Rihanna when she was in the news for her being beaten up by Chris Brown. I would do jokes
right.
about her
Yeah,
music, and like she had a song, that work song was current at the
yeah,
time, so I'd dance around and compare it to power metal because I love like epic fantasy power metal, which is a very complicated and
yeah.
high energy thing. And then she has like that work song, and so I just love doing that. Like, but you can't do that in Florida because they don't listen to Rihanna,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so you can't do that. And I learned very quickly that darkness not very appreciated in Florida, but I can still get
Okay.
away with a lot of the darkness up in New York, I'm sure. But I
Okay.
think
So you don't do as much dark stuff in Florida.
it's
Well,
hard to
I
do.
touched on it because we've been trying to get together for a while.
Hmm.
It's been probably a couple of months. And one of the things you mentioned was you had a lot of voiceover projects.
Right.
So I wanted you to talk about that if you don't mind for a minute.
Yeah, I've been doing voiceover since 2008. Amateur level voiceover, nothing too huge. I've been in video games, but not in anything anybody's like gonna hear about. But
Okay.
I was like I was doing and I'm currently doing about four different projects at the same time. But now we're in a lull, so I'm not like doing lines and then doing retakes and then
Okay.
going back and forth. There's like a lot of communication in the way how I work because I prefer to get the good takes. I don't care so much about the kind of money that you could make doing it because I'm not in projects that can afford that kind of paycheck.
Okay.
So I like working with them. It takes it's a lot more effort, but I don't mind it.
Yeah.
And then I'm also directing for another project in France where I'm like grabbing all these French voice actors and trying to, get them to follow the script and then we edit everything together. So it's been very involved, but it's in a lull now. We're just
Wow.
waiting on things to come out and then
That's
I'll be busy again.
amazing, Drew. That's amazing. I can't even imagine.
It's a lot of work, but it's fun. I
Well,
like it.
I
It's a
I
lot of
tell you
fun.
what, Drew, I've been doing these for a while. I just looked the other night. I think I'm up to about 250 of these.
Whew,
And I got to tell you, just to get somebody on the damn Zoom meeting,
it
get
can
them
be
to show
hard.
up, and then hey, by the way, your picture looks like crap. Your sound is terrible. Whatever. I mean, it's such a fiasco. I can't
Oh yeah,
imagine trying to get people from France.
yeah.
Unless, do you speak French?
No, I do not. And
That's
fortunately, all of our actors speak English, so it works
Oh,
out.
okay. All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Um, and I don't know if I should do this or not, but uh, I watched some stuff.
Okay.
You're not going to do any more pickup lines. You're not trying pickup lines with women anymore.
No, not
Giving
me.
up on that.
I still do the joke though about pickup lines, but that one was actually one I wrote in Florida back in West Palm Beach, like the Karen pickup lines.
I was trying to set you up, but I guess you don't
Yeah.
want to do it.
Um, I didn't realize you wanted the whole joke.
Oh
That
no,
I
no,
think.
no! It doesn't matter to me. I was trying to set you up.
Oh yeah, that's just a really old joke.
Is it? Is it okay?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's like so almost it's like 13. It's almost like 13 years old. Because I
Is it
started
really?
in, yeah, started in New York, and then when because it was just regular women, and then the Karen thing started going around, so I
Okay.
made it about Karens, which is like I've had it in many different forms. I'll do it in its youngest form, where from when I was very
You don't even have
very
to do it,
bitter.
bud. It's your call. I just brought it up. I'm trying to throw you a bone.
Oh, I hear you. It's a
I see
long
what
joke
else I have
though.
written down here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
No, go
not.
ahead. I don't care.
Okay.
We have about 5 minutes left or so, so you do whatever you
Okay.
want.
I do. I used to do it when I was younger, as like women don't like talking to me, for obvious reasons. So I have to get all my practice in unorthodox places like YouTube. But when you search conversation with a women with women, you find Karen freakouts. So I have flirts, but they're a little aggressive. They're for Karen. So like I've noticed if a Karen is like whenever they're yelling at you, there's a lot of pointing. So I have a flirt for that, which is you better stop pointing at me unless you want a ring on that finger. And then I gotta give them one of those. And sometimes they will threaten you with violence, like I'm gonna kick your butt. Like you're not using those feet for anything except a nice foot rub after work. Now you're gonna leave me alone or make me the happiest man on earth. And then I'll
Oh my
kneel.
God.
Like,
That's
yeah,
great stuff. Yeah, the one I saw, and I'll do it was about that
yeah,
you started threats now. You started
right.
going to
The aggressive
threats.
threats. Yes, the I don't want to flirt with women anymore. I just threaten them. Like
Yeah.
if a woman wears a nice outfit, she's like, "Oh, does this make me look good?" I'm like, that would look amazing at gunpoint. I would love that. Or they'll say like, "All right, look, I took this picture of myself. How do you think that has really strong missing person energy?" Um,
Missing person energy.
I'd know where you are, but no one would find you. Yeah,
Right.
this is, those are very fun. That one, that
Yeah,
joke.
no, and that's like I said, and I told you that I really like the dark and nasty stuff.
Oh yeah,
Well,
that's what
Drew,
that.
before again, we're going to run out of time, but I want to
Uh-huh.
make sure that we cover everything that you want to tell the people, and then of course I'm hoping you'll do your comedy minute for me. So first, make sure you cover everything. Again, strings attached comedy and your stand up, which again I'm going to put the links to. Like on Facebook, you have a special string attached comedy, and
Hmm.
I'll put all that. You
Okay.
have a separate one on Instagram and TikTok and all that.
There's the strings attached one. I don't know if they have I don't know if they have the TikTok, but I think they have an Instagram that's
Okay.
also called Strings Attached Comedy.
Okay.
And then mine Instagram is Bill's Concrete because no one knows how to spell my name.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up because it's like you got, and on TikTok, you're this big, funny, fat guy.
Yeah, but I can't really figure out a funny name for TikTok yet. I'm just gonna make another account if anything
Okay.
ever takes off. But
Okay.
so far my TikTok's kind of,
I
but
don't,
if
I don't do TikTok.
yeah, well, it's gonna be banned and if not already banned in the country anyway, so I'm not really focusing on it.
No, like I always say, do we need Scotty T?
We might.
I don't think so. I'm saving. I am doing my part to save the world from seeing Scotty T doing TikTok dance moves.
I don't know how people can do that and like not laugh. I don't know how they do some of
I
those
I,
moves.
I I'm not going to.
Yeah, I hear you. I can't either. I'm not dancing unless it's really
Yeah.
funny.
Well, you're like me. You're a big guy. You're a big guy.
Yeah,
People can't tell because of the Zoom, but you're a big guy like
I'm
me.
a big guy. Oh yeah.
I'm big and good, hot and spicy, sweet and meaty. Lasts the full grown men.
Mm-hmm. Whole lot of us here.
Yeah, man. Well, before we finish, make sure you got everything, and then I want it. I want your comedy minute.
1 minute of jokes.
No, 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 Drew. If you
Huh?
didn't get the memo, it can be 5 minutes. It can be a
Oh,
story. It can be anything you want it to be.
okay.
Okay, whatever you want. Anything that makes you laugh.
Right.
Okay, Drew Ferrano.
Anything that makes me laugh.
Drew Ferrano, your comedy minute. Go ahead, my friend.
Gotcha. I'm gonna get a picture aid here so that this lovely this
Picture
lovely
aid.
story. Yeah, you need to see it to
Okay.
understand.
All
I need
right.
two pictures. So this is the story about the way how I figured out that my mom loves me. and it requires a
Okay.
couple pictures. So long story short, it involves the movie Aladdin, a beer logo, and my brain actively working against me at all times.
Okay.
Basically, we got to talk about nightmares if we're going to talk about this. And
Right.
when I was young, I think I was about 4. I saw the Red Dog beer logo. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. That looks like that. See
Okay.
that?
Yep.
Now, if that's not scary, I don't know what it's got these dead eyes. Look at it
Yep.
stares right past you.
Yep.
I don't looks hungry to me.
Right. Yep.
And I was 4. And that night, when I went to sleep, I had a nightmare immediately about this being on a large movie screen. And it started moving, and then it got closer and closer. It came out of the screen, and it ripped my arm off of my body. And I was horrified when I woke up because that
Okay.
day we were going to leave to go see Aladdin in theaters. It was 1998. Now, I don't know if you've seen Aladdin. Have you seen it?
It's been a long time, but
Okay.
I remember it a little
Okay.
bit.
Well, in Aladdin, at the beginning, most importantly, there's a scene where they have this big song where it's really dark and scary, and they're all singing about how they'll kill you if they don't like your face and crazy stuff like that. And there's a part in the movie where they're in the desert and they're trying to find something, and they grab their little what are they called? The scarab beetle, and it goes into the sand, and then let me see if I can get this thing to cooperate with me here, because this thing wants to look at my face. There we go. You see that? You see that? That's called the Cave of Wonders. Now, when I was 4 and I saw that, I went, "It's real!" And I ran out of the theater at 100 miles an hour. I'm 4 years old, never run so fast in my life.
Okay.
I was a track star back then. I went from my mother's son to my mother's missing son for several minutes, and I was dodging popcorn, jumping over the arcade machines. I turned around, looked behind me. It was right there. I was in another nightmare. I passed out into another nightmare. And when I eventually woke up, I was outside of the theater somewhere, and we went back home. Couldn't go back in. I was so scared of what was on the screen. I didn't even want to go into the theater. A
Okay.
week passes, and we're watching the commercials for the movie for Aladdin. I want to go see the movie because I'm 4. So I want to go. I want to go. And so we're watching it. It has the Cave of Wonders. I'm not scared. It's very small on the TV. And my mom's like, "See it? It's not going to hurt you." So we go to the theater the second time, and that's how I know my mom loves me. That she brought me to the movie theater the second time, and I'm sitting there, and she's sitting next to me, and she's like, "You know what's going to happen, right?" Because the scene started. I see the beetle, and she's like, "It's going to go in the sand." I'm like, "That's right." And then the thing's going to come out. I'm like, "Yes, it is." And it's not going to hurt you, right? And I said, "Yes, mother, it's not going to hurt me." And then the Cave of Wonders came out and went, "Roar," and then I got the fuck out of that theater. I ran out of there. I went from her son that was very scared to her missing son once more, and I was even harder to find the second time. And
Well, my friend, we're
way
going to
how,
run out of time. I
yeah,
appreciate it. I,
that's the story.
I'm traumatized myself.
Yeah, it was a freaky day, but I don't think my mom ever knew it was because of a nightmare. Because whenever she tells that story, she smiles more than I do because she thought it was very cute.
Well, my friend, we're going to run out of time. I thank you for being here. We'll catch up again soon.
Hell yeah, it was
It was
nice
my
to meet
pleasure.
you.
I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too.
I did. Thank you for having me. Have a
Okay, let me
great day.
stop the recording.
Okay.